Garrett Foster, a Lambda Literary Fellow in Genre Fiction.
This is the start of Chapter 4 of my thriller called The Domino Murders. 11220 Southwest 19th Street was definitely not in the best part of town. Mark was aware of that as soon as Muscle Guy for You typed it in the chat room window, gloryholenow.com, and yet he had agreed to meet him there anyway. As a veteran homicide detective, he had been to all kinds of neighborhoods, including this one. He had investigated everything from high-stake heroin deals gone terribly wrong, to vicious knife stabbings over who had control of the TV remote, to domestic disturbances so wildly explosive they made him truly wonder why so many people hurt the ones they loved. Just like Ryan hurt him, he supposed. As a veteran detective, he was trained to sniff out potential danger, and yet here he was on the verge of walking straight into it. If he was on duty, he would have approached the group of hoodlum teenage boys suspiciously huddled near a dumpster at Paradise Grove, the name of the complex where Muscle Guy for You lived. Paradise Grove, it was actually more like Slumlord Village, and yet he still wasn't turning around. That's how incredibly hot he was for this guy he so far only knew in cyberspace. He had convinced himself that he really didn't have anything to be worried about, that he couldn't possibly end up as one of the statistics he wrote about endlessly in one tedious report after another. Blah, 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 blah. His heart just wasn't in it any longer. He really needed to find something else to do with his life, something that would get him out of this terrible funk. Or maybe he was hoping there would be something to worry about, that someone would finally teach him a serious lesson about meeting guys who lived in hellholes like this. It had started after things ended with Ryan, and there was no relief in sight. He climbed the stairs to the catwalk, which stretched across the second floor like an exterior hall of shame. A rickety metal railing was the only thing preventing a fall to the concrete sidewalk below. He looked down and saw a middle-aged woman with a faded tattoo of a sunburst smack dab on her fleshy belly. She was floating on her back in the lagoon-shaped pool, reading a magazine and smoking a cigarette she nonchalantly flicked into the algae-filled water. Her hot pink raft was as inflated as the chest she'd clearly purchased. She looked more desperate than inviting, and he wondered if she ever had anonymous sex with anyone she met online. Apartment 208. Maybe Muscle Guy for You lived nicer on the inside than he did on the outside. Not likely. But he didn't have to have a Roche-Bobois sofa or 400 thread count satin sheets or even a clean toilet seat to make this work. He just had to have his own impressive billy club and the wherewithal to know what to do with it, so that Mark could be on his way back to gloryholenow.com, another notch in his belt of penance. His hand was firm on the trigger guard of his Glock 17. Obviously, a pack of Trojans wasn't the only protection he thought he might need. He turned the knob on the scratch door with its double deadbolts. As Muscle Guy for You promised, it was unlocked. He didn't say a word as he pushed open the door and stepped inside the galley kitchen. Phew, the place stank like dead fish. Or maybe it was just the year-old layer of grease on the electric stove. His role was to catch Muscle Guy in the act and pee on him. From the stench in the place, disinfecting him would be a much better idea. He moved through the living room with all the nervous energy of a performer about to go on stage. The place really was a mess. He thought he saw a rat, which turned out to be just a fuzzy black sock sticking out from under the broken futon. Piles of empty pizza boxes and Chinese takeout containers had become playgrounds for the roaches that scurried to and fro. Fortunately, what the guy lacked in the decorating and cleaning department, he more than made up for with a hairy, rock-hard body that Mark had already jacked off to enough times to have it etched into his brain. When he approached the doorway of the bedroom, he saw the naked body lying on a stained mattress on the floor. It certainly wasn't the one he had memorized inch by tantalizing inch. This one was white as snow and smooth, and there wasn't a single muscle to be found. Fucking catfisher. Other guys had duped him with pics that didn't look anything like them, but this one took the cake. He was horny enough to have sex with him anyway, but the fantasy was ruined way beyond repair. This guy didn't look even remotely like Ryan, which made the entire charade suddenly futile. Ryan was not coming back to him, that was clear. not even with all the promiscuous smoke and mirrors in the world to make it otherwise. Hey dude, he said, ready for this particular game to be over. False advertising is definitely not cool. Thank you.